Boy, my shirt is really bright. Looking at the camera, kind of dull colors in the background, I really stand out here. But that's not the topic of today's video, although it is sort of random like the topics of today's video. I'm going to talk about how Shea Whitney stole my idea. Compromise bags, legacy bags. What are these things? Does buying from Chanel support Nazis? Why I'll never do another low buy or no buy, and a few other things. I'm going to give you my thoughts on all these topics and more, so stay tuned. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags and small goods to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. And one of the perks of subscribing to my channel is you get to see my community posts on your YouTube homepage, where I post deals, discount codes, sales, and rare finds related to these beautiful things we love. I just did a community post before I started this video, and it's about a sale at Neiman Marcus where when you spend a certain amount you can get a certain amount off instantly. Looks like a pretty good sale. Couple things I'm interested in. We'll see if I get something. But let's get to the topics at hand. There are a few things I have been wanting to talk about that wouldn't necessarily take up a whole video, so I thought I would do a video where I talk about each of them and do a little small chunk sort of thing. Now, if you would like a deeper dive into any of these topics, please let me know in the comment section below. Let's talk first about returns. I have been purchasing quite a few items in the last couple of months because there have been fabulous sales, and there have been a lot of bags that I haven't been able to see in person. The only way I can see them in person is by buying them online, having them shipped to me. Now, often when that happens, just like when you're at the store, something may catch your eye, you walk over and then you see it up close and you're like, man, I don't want to buy that. The same thing happens when you buy something online, you see it in person for the first time after it's shipped to you. You don't always like everything. If you were in the store, you would just not buy it. In this case, the only choice, if you don't want it, is to return it. I had someone ask me, and she was very nice about this, it wasn't a criticism. I had someone ask me if I was worried about making so many returns and being banned or flagged by different stores. I'm not. For one, I purchase from many different places, and I don't think I've made enough returns from any one place to be flagged. Who knows? I also don't return everything. I keep the things that I want to keep. In fact, over the weekend, I unboxed a bag that I'd purchased on a whim, and I was pretty sure I was going to return, and I ended up loving it and keeping it, and I've been carrying it ever since I unboxed it. You'll see that some other time. But besides that, since COVID, people have been buying online a lot more, and because of that, these companies are going to be seeing a lot more returns. I think it's more normal to do so many returns these days. So for that reason, I'm not worried about it. I would love, however, to hear from any of you who have experience being flagged or banned, if you know about it, or if you work for a retail store and you know the policy, I'd love to hear about it. So this is a topic where I'm asking you a question instead of me having all the answers as usual. That was a joke. Another topic that has come up in the comment section is compromise bags. Do you know what these are? This is where you want one particular bag, but something stops you from getting it. Either it's very difficult to find, or it's very expensive and it's difficult to justify spending that much on it. Whatever it may be, you choose not to get that bag, or at least not to get it right away, and you get other bags that are similar in some way, and those would be the compromise bags. They're something like what you want, but they're not exactly what you want. And what was it that I unboxed just recently? Was it maybe the Coach? Yeah, that's what it was. It was the Coach Pillow Tabby 18 in silver, and I had talked about maybe getting the Buttercup because I've been looking for a small bag about this color of my shirt. A yellow orangey color. The Toy Lulu has a color similar to this called Cheddar. I've considered that bag, and then Coach has this Pillow Tabby and Buttercup. Well, I got the silver one because it was on sale. It was a fabulous price at the time. Ended up returning it because the color was not for me. But ultimately, I also decided not to get the Buttercup bag because I just feel like that bag is too trendy for me. Like, I wouldn't want to carry it for very long. And also, I'd like it to be a little bigger. And people kept telling me in the comments, you need to just get the YSL Toy Lulu because that's what you really want, and all these other bags are compromise bags. Well, there are several reasons I haven't gotten the Toy Lulu. I've seen it in person, 11, and I think it's too small for me too, and I'm not interested in going up to the next size because that would be too big. I want something in between the toy and the small size. Someone else mentioned the toy size puffer bag, and I saw that in person too, and it's great. It doesn't have that divider in the middle, which makes the space inside even smaller, or at least limits what you can put in it. Great option, but it doesn't come in the color I want, at least as far as I've seen. I also don't think I really want that style. I prefer the Lulu to the puffer. Also, for me, the toy Lulu isn't worth the $1,600 price point where it currently is. I'm just not willing to spend that much on it. It's a bag I would have in my collection for a long time, but it's not a bag I would carry that often. It's pretty rare that I spend that much on any bag. If I do, it either has to be really special, and I don't think that bag is special enough, or it needs to be something that I would get a lot more wear out of. One thing I am looking at currently, but I haven't pulled the trigger on yet, is this small yellow bag, a very similar look to the Lulu, and it's from Pinko. I think that could be the solution. That could be my yellow bag. I just need to decide on the size and find a deal on it, all those things. That runs around $300 or $400. So what is your experience with compromise bags? Is that something you find yourself doing, or have you learned not to do it? Or do you mostly not do it, but every once in a while? What do you do? And do you have compromise bags in your collection, and do you know it? And do you keep them? Do you get rid of them? What do you do? Next topic, Shea Whitney stole my idea. Now this video is from several months ago. It's from sometime last year. Like I said, I've been collecting ideas to talk about. But she has on this thumbnail, luxury on a budget, which of course is my tagline. The reason I bring this up is really more of a broader conversation within the luxury handbag community here on YouTube, where I have heard people say, particularly behind the scenes, not so much on videos, but I've heard quite a few people say over the years, so-and-so stole my idea. I've been accused of stealing ideas before. Now I can definitely say that I get inspired by other people. For example, Gwenny and I have a video coming out this Saturday that's from a question Gwenny asked Dale in Dale's Q&A. And I've been getting a lot of ideas from Dale lately. She has been talking about some very interesting topics, and that inspires me to think of similar topics or topics connected to something that she has talked about. In fact, one of my topics in this video is also inspired by her. It'll come a little later. Shea Whitney did not steal my idea, and in general, other people on YouTube are not stealing people's ideas. This is a community. I'm an artist. I've grown up in this artist community, a worldwide artist community that exists throughout history, and I see parallels between these two worlds. It's not so much that people steal other people's ideas, it's that you're inspired by other people and you pull bits and pieces here and there. Also, none of us are that unique. A lot of us come up with the same ideas. I have ideas written down from months and even years ago that I've never done a video on that Dale has talked about. She didn't know that I had those written down, so she didn't steal my ideas. We just happened to come up with the same ideas. This stuff happens. Just like a lot of us talk about the same handbags. We're not stealing each other's ideas, we just like the same things. Similarly, in the design world, in the fashion world, people are always talking about how this house stole an idea from this house or was inspired by this house, or gosh, don't those handbags look similar? Sometimes it's very much intentional, other times it's inspiration. I'm just very against this idea of jumping to the conclusion that someone stole your idea when you don't have proof for that. And when we all watch each other and we're all pretty much talking about the same things, you catch the drift. Is buying from Chanel supporting Nazism? Why is that even a question? A subscriber posted this question to me a few months ago. I have not done the research myself into the history of this, but apparently there's a connection between Chanel and Nazism. I think, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, she was dating somebody who was a Nazi and she was helping him with something along those lines, I believe. There was also a connection with Prada and Nazism. So here's my take on it. Of course, I do not support Nazis. I believe people are equal and should be treated equally. But this goes into a conversation of separating the art from the artist, which is a whole thing that I won't even get into because it's very complicated, lots of different viewpoints. I think a lot of us are still working that out, figuring out how we feel about it. And this is connected to the Me Too movement as well. Like, does anybody watch The Cosby Show anymore, as one example? For me, the Chanel question is easy. I don't think buying from Chanel supports Nazism anymore because Chanel isn't alive. As far as I know, the brand is not connected to that. There are totally different people running the brand, so that's not where your money goes these days. I had someone tell me that they don't buy Rebecca Minkoff because she's a Scientologist. From what I know about Scientology, that's not something I would want to support. Fortunately, most of the Minkoff bags that I have purchased have been secondhand. Now I know that still promotes the brand, especially when I come on here and talk about it, but I definitely see that kind of purchase as different from purchasing directly from the store where your money, I mean, most of your money is going to go back into the business, isn't it? Paying for employees and all the business expenses. But Rebecca certainly gets quite a nice profit, I'm sure, as well. And some of that would funnel down into Scientology. So you'd have to make your own decisions about that. This could definitely be a video in itself, separating the art from the artist. A very complicated conversation. 2 years ago, I started a low-buy year, and I quickly ended it. That was because I started it right before COVID hit, and once COVID hit, those very early months, I started to see an influx of hard-to-find bags come into the pre-loved market at great prices, and I needed to take advantage of some of that. And this is why I would never do a no-buy or a low-buy again, is because the way that I shop luxury, I know some items I'm interested in, and I can't just go and buy them because I'm not someone who can afford to just go buy whatever I want at the store anytime. I'm someone who shops the pre-loved market more than anything. And on the pre-loved market, you have to buy something when it comes available at the condition you're looking for and at the price you're willing to pay. And if you don't buy it, you can't just sit there and wait for, a lot of people are doing a February low buy challenge. You can't just sit there and wait a whole month or several weeks for the challenge to be over, because very likely you're going to miss out on that item. The way I shop, you have to be looking every day and you have to be prepared. Just the other day, I wasn't expecting to buy anything and something popped up from Louis Vuitton on the RealReal that I have been looking for years. It's been one of my dream items that has been out of reach, a unicorn item if you will, and it popped up in pristine condition with box and dust bag at a very reasonable price. Not a bargain, because I know I'm not going to find this at a bargain, but quite a bit less than I've seen it anywhere else, and I jumped on it, and I knew that I had to jump on it because it would disappear quickly, and I've been looking for it for years, and I knew how difficult it would be to find it again. Which brings up a whole other dilemma about if you're trying to save money, but then you're also really into luxury and you shop like I do with the pre-loved, and something pops up. Do you save the money, or do you buy the thing you've been looking for years that you know if you don't buy you're gonna regret? Or when you know you want something new from Louis Vuitton, for example, and you'd really rather not spend the money on it right now, but you know they're going to increase prices again and again and again. The prices are only going to go up. Do you go ahead and buy all the things you want now to get a better price on it, as opposed to waiting when it will be more expensive? But then you also know, even if you buy all the things now, you're still going to want more things later. It's just a never-ending vicious cycle. This next topic is the one that was inspired by Dale, and this will be our last topic. She did a video I will link below. I'll link her Q&A video too. She did a video on handbag collections, around the word collection. Are they really collections? Are we really collectors? What does that mean? And one of the things that she says repeatedly in her videos is that when she buys a bag, she uses it. To her, bags aren't trophies or statues to sit on the shelf. They're things to be used. And I commented that I feel the same way, but that I'm more careful with my limited edition pieces because I feel kind of an obligation to take care of those for people who will have them in the future. Because the bags are going to outlive us, right? Especially if we take care of them. Eventually, we might sell them or they might get passed down to someone. And I know for me, just like with this piece that I bought that I'd been looking for so long and looking for in great shape, it was hard to find in great shape. I really appreciate it when I can find something that's hard to find in excellent condition. So I want to be able to provide that with the items that I have to someone in the future. I don't want to mess them up. I've heard people say this about painting bags as well, or altering them in some way, that you're sort of ruining the bag. I remember when I was a kid and we used to watch movies or TV shows as a family. Let's say in a movie they would crash a beautiful classic car, and my dad would get so upset about it. And it's the same idea I'm talking about, that there are limited numbers of some of these things, and when you damage something or destroy something, you're taking away the opportunity for someone else to enjoy that item at some point in the future. Make sense? So I don't want to do that. I want to preserve those items for future people, but I also want to enjoy them myself. So when I do use them, I'm just more careful with those. I'm careful with my stuff anyway, but I do use it. I don't think there's anything I have, looking around me, that I don't use because it's too precious. I'm certainly careful with something like this Gucci Jackie bag with the patches on it, and of course I'm careful with my reissue, but I carry them. How about you? What do you think about that? Because Dale said that she hadn't really thought about, and she used this term, the legacy of the handbags. So I'm calling them here legacy bags. or legacy items. Dale hates that word. But it's definitely something I think about. Is it something that you think about? Let me know in the comment section below, and anything else that you might have to say about any of the other topics we discussed today. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.